Today is June 27th, 2025. Today at Bob Evans and Alliance outside, some guys on the phone, I looked it up. They did say they made everything up. I'll take care of it. They did tape them saying that. Okay? We go over to Value City Furniture. People come in. Do you realize how not funny this is? Melissa making all that stuff up. And they taped them saying they made everything up. Other people, we all know that guy found that tape. Now, the riffraff are lying to you. The FBI says no one can help her. They never said that. Who said that? The people pulling the drug scam. Using your low IQ. Fooling all you people. Melissa needs to go to jail. On Google, if you have your child act like it's harm to extort money, there's extortion charges and child abuse. Do you realize the stigma and the mental abuse she's put on that child? You know, it's one thing where Officer Mark and them were in Walmart 62 after Thanksgiving of 18. Melissa could go to jail for involving herself in this. Well, I'd hate to arrest her. Kids are little. Why don't we just write it up they were showing off for Dave's new girlfriend? So we don't have to arrest her. See, that's bad enough you're being that big of a bitch, trying to extort my house out of me by making games of pretend. And I didn't even know what they were. Like people even said today, do you realize how not funny this is? She wasn't even around them. Hardly at all for a whole year. She wouldn't have known what they were saying behind her back. Nope. And they didn't make that shit up until they thought they got rid of the FBI. No one ever went to the hospital. No pictures of injuries. No police were called. No police investigation. Why? She made it up during the FBI case, in front of the police and the FBI. Being a smartass. For Melissa, so stupid, she made everything up when you were fishing with David. She's actually that stupid. She didn't check where you were. Where yesterday at Speedway on Middle Branch in North Canton, 2 girls are by the pop station. Is that the one they're talking about? Yes. That's the one that girl from that one church had her kids make up some mean lies to help her church get away with this. And they all realize she's going to end up in jail and lose her kids over this. Oh, the police, the FBI, and Child Protective Services better be taking those kids from her and placing charges on her. It's been almost 7 years. There's one thing about being a bitch and thinking you're funny, making up something with Auntie Shell and Papa to make up mean games of pretend laughing behind Grandma's back. For Auntie Shell and Papa to get the house on Thanksgiving of 18. Legally bugged house. They got caught in the basement saying that they wanted the house for Auntie Shell and Papa. Grandma needed to get out. Later on in Florida, they were making everything up. And they were games of pretend. Sick shit. Okay? I go up and I had sat by Dixie and the baby. Flora comes up. They're saying mean things in the basement. Dixie said, stay out of it. I go up to John. I said, what's going on? He said, I don't know, Mom. I told Melissa, his ex-wife. Found out was friends with Dave's girlfriend, Auntie Shell. And Dave had the kids make up some mean jokes behind my back. I found out later on. She needs to go to jail. By federal law, she is to be arrested and those children taken away from her and never allowed around her again for exploiting them for money and profit. When I went up to John, I said, "What's going on?" He said, "I don't know. I told Melissa you're moving out, going through a divorce. She'll just have the kids make up something, but don't worry about it, Mom. Nobody can say anything bad about you. It'll be because you're moving out and going through a divorce. She'll have her church people make up something too, but don't worry about it. Nobody can say anything bad about you." I said, "You shouldn't have said anything till it happened." He said, "Well, I did. And since I did, and it's just made up because of the divorce or you're moving out, nobody can say anything bad about you. Don't worry about it." And he shooed me. Went to Dave to clarify everything. I've never hurt anyone. He said, "Karen, you're good to the kids, good to the grandkids. You would never hurt anyone. You're good to everyone, no matter who it is." Now, these people had already sold a login bill from the Freemason that some guy named Pete already sold the FBI login. They're the ones framing Judge Timothy Ludick, Judge Stephen, and the Portage County Sheriffs. Okay? And Chief Bruce Lewinsky for their special permission to drug beat and rape people. That some guy named Pete on his own, he impersonated a retired judge, friends with Ludick and Stevens, supposed to let him get away with crimes. It's them. Okay? The police and the FBI, since they already sold a login, this is public. Okay? They had a huddle in the front of Walmart. Why are they having those kids make that shit up? They said, "Oh, they're just trying to scare her into giving up the house." That's it. We interviewed her whole family. They spoke highly of her. Okay? And then they came up Melissa's so stupid she made everything up when you're fishing with Dave. She's actually that stupid. She didn't check where you were. Okay? Officer John, January 12, 22, 4:55 p.m., Walgreens, North Main, in Canton. What did those kids get tape stating? They made everything up. Massillon Police in 21 documented me games of pretend. Stark County Sheriff's in uniform that work Karen around the house. Karen's well FBI informant. They work at the family church. Also as security. We're laughing at some guy named Kurt. He just found out those kids were lying. He's slow. That was Mayor 21. The apartment building for me, second close offense. Lady and little girls were over there talking about me being drugged and told to say it before. They were even out there laughing in 21 that they had told them they were lying. They told everybody. They made everything up. People were even saying, like a month ago, they were laughing that all these people were willing to help them and they made everything up. They thought it was funny. See, that's where other people in Value City, we all know they got taped saying they made everything up. Nobody went to the hospital. There was no pictures of injuries. No police were called. Why? Because like the investigator said, do you know how sick this is? Karen's risking her life to get information on these people, trying to save everyone. And her family's sitting around laughing, making stuff up on her. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. And this whole thing of they didn't think about going to the hospital. If something really bad happened to your kid, bullshit, you wouldn't take it to the hospital. Bullshit, you wouldn't call the police. Bullshit. And that guy is no retired judge. That retired Judge Pete from the Ravenna courthouse, it's just some guy named Pete saying he's a judge. Just some guy. Get the idea? Some guy. Dave hired on his own. I went over to Danny and Jen where they were blaming them that they reported the tape of Weird with Yourself, the shower scene in the other room, that they were in it with Dave the whole time. So, after November 18th, 22, Eric, one of the drug dealers, comes in Walmart 62. All the tapes before were me and not her. It was my idea to come up with it, my idea to do it, my idea to say it, for all these people to turn on her, and they actually fell for it. I went to him Christmas Eve of 22. I said, did you know where they kicked in my door on the 6th day? They said, yeah. And I said, Dave said it was a realtor passing out keys, don't report it. Yes. Did you know about button cameras? No. Did you know that they took a shower scene of me washing myself and put it in the other room? They're laughing at me in stores? No. I said, do you remember the orange, lemon, and grapefruit-sized bruises all over me? Yes. Throwing up, almost passing out in front of the neighbor by the second weekend, it kept happening? Yes. Did you know they were drugging me and telling me to say weirdo stuff? They had been laughing at me in front of people in stores. They did that to me. They're like, no, I thought you were bruising too hard, too easy, and working too hard. I didn't think about it. Kids came out of the room and hugged me, Grandma, we didn't know. So I kept going over there, and I'm talking to Shay, Gabe, my grandson, Gabe, he's grown, his girlfriend. She said, Karen, this is scary, the thought somebody was watching you. I said, I know it is. And the thought they taped me in the shower washing and put that in another room. She's like, Karen, that's scary. Somebody was playing with you like that. I said, what's worse is I'd be fine. I'd be outside. I'd be working. I'd come in. I'd have a 2-liter Diet Coke, wash my hands, make something to eat and drink, go use the bathroom, wash my hands better, come out and take a drink in the room and go dizzy and black. Or I'd wake up with injection marks, having giant bruises, orange, lemon, grapefruit size, throwing up, almost passing out in front of people. And she's like, Karen, that's scary. I said, and they're supposed to have drugged me and told me to say weird and molester stuff. They've laughed at me in front of people in stores. She said, people getting in and drugging you and harming you like that? Karen, this is scary. I said, what's scary is I never seen or talked to anybody. Jen's like, I seen her like that and I didn't put it together. Somebody was harming her. April 16, 23, Jen's mom had died. They had a memorial service. I go to leave. Danny and Jen and the kids walk up to Gabe and Shay. Finally went to Dad. Now I'm not too far across the parking lot. Can hear them talking. Went to get in my car. I looked over. I finally went to Dad, asked him what on earth is going on. He said he had hired some guy named Pete on his own. It was Pete and his men in her home before. Pete has her framed. Pete has her taped the filthy, dirty statement. Some guy named Pete. My rapist. Now I want you to think about this. Bill from the Freemasons, some guy named Pete, and some lady running a drug scam on somebody, and you're all falling for it because you're retards, making fun of a rape victim. People tell people she's a human trafficking victim, and these people are making fun of her for what the human traffickers did. Officer Mark considers that Pete and Bill drug cartel, all of them. August of 23, he's in Kohl's parking lot in Bella. He's telling a lady, none of this is funny. Said, did our ex-husband defend her? He said, yes, we taped him. So did I. Said, did anybody ever speak to her? No. Then they had to have framed her. It's documented and verified she was framed before. Was it the drug cartel? Yes, we seen them. So who does he consider Bill and Pete? Drug cartel. He said it's also documented and verified another woman was using her insurance and it was a medication error that made her sick before. She's like, none of this is funny. He said, I know it's not. See, that's where April 24th, 25, I go to walk in. Some guy's on the phone. I listened to the recorded line. That agent did admit to telling on her before, and he did talk to her like that. They better do something about it. Go to the veggie aisle, an officer in uniform. So North Canton Jackson police officer shows up. Karen is listening to this today. We all know nobody drugs anybody but the drug cartel, and it was a drug cartel in your home before. Want to know? We all know that guy told on you before. I want to know how he heard it, and he took off after him. That guy Kurt that the Stark County Sheriff's called slow in May of 21 for falling for Melissa's mean games of pretend, because they were taped stating on Thanksgiving of 18 they made everything up. Okay. He tells everybody to stay out of this. Over by the ladies' clothing aisle, and there's a grocery aisle right next to it. Guy's on the phone, Kurt. None of this is funny. They have these people taped that they admitted that they drugged her and told her to say it before. Photoshopped everything and made everything up on her. And they have her whole family taped defending her, and the other one saying they made everything up. And they have the agent over her case admitting to telling on her before. None of this is funny. Everybody stay out of this. Then Pam shows up with her granddaughter. Uncle Dave said he had someone tape her before. Oh, they'll verify it. We walk out, investigators lose it laughing. Took her long enough to admit she was in it with Dave with those stocking tapes. Her family better number verified. The police already have them taped defending her. And these people admitting that they drugged her and told her to say it before and photoshopped everything. That means they ran it with Dave the whole time trying to kill her and cover it up. And the police would have to arrest him. Everybody scattered. About that time in March or April of 24. Okay? I am in Lone Star. Investigators are in there giggling like teenagers. Trust me, nobody ever fell for the tape. But weird with yourself, you could tell it was photoshopped or washing yourself in the shower. You can tell it's photoshopped. And the other guy said, well, it's not even funny. You can tell she was drugged when they told everyone they drugged her and told her to say it before. You can tell she was drugged. Somebody else said, do you realize how not funny it is to take a drink out of a drink in the room, go dizzy and black, or wake up with injection marks and bruises and throwing up and infected and almost passing out and not know what happened to you? Do you know how not funny this is? And somebody drug you up until you say something like that. From the first month of a case, some old white man came up. I had a big bruise the size of a lemon on my leg, throwing up that morning, came up to me. For every idle word you tell on us, I'll turn it on you. Try to leave Dave, I'll list you a child molester. You know that bruise on your leg? I use sodium pentothal on you. You know what you said when you were wearing this one nightgown, bent over in public once they accidentally seen your butt and you had a life of pain because of it. And then threatened me again. Right in front of the police and the FBI. Got away from that freak. Dave debunked it. I was dressed modestly. They only made fun of the back of my knees, and I didn't even own that nightgown years ago. He made the whole scenario up. But I did have a bruise. I was throwing up, and I was almost passing out. Somebody had done something. That's where in 18 they said they had drugged me and told me to say it. Where you had bruises before, throwing up and infected, and you thought it was the well water making you sick. It was actually us. We had drugged you and told you to say this. We had drugged you and told you to say that. We photoshopped all our lies. And we erased some guy named Chris out of the room. They mentioned a Chris around me. I do not know who he is. But these, right after, what was it, April 23rd of 24, Sunday, Walmart on the Strip, when that happened. Was it April 16th, 24, something like that? It was a Sunday. Within that day or so in North Canton, where I was staying, there was a guy outside. He said, I heard a dog bark. I heard him talking. He said, I don't want her to know I'm here. I was afraid somebody would show up. He said, I already told that girl. She's been taped, knowing of the tapes before. She better not be caught part of them or she'll go to jail a long time, and she needs to start realizing how not funny this is. That guy, Chris, they said they raced out of the room. She doesn't even know who he is. And they said he was one of the main people hurting her. Predators. Preying on people in their home. See, that's where January 19, they said they photoshopped a feminine wipey above the toilet. March 1st to 3rd of 21, they said they put 2 clips together, put her in a porn. It's not her, it's them. And then after that, they started saying stuff that never happened. And, oh, you touched yourself, you exposed yourself, you touched yourself, look weird. And I thought, that's not wiping off. Oh, they, March 13, 21, they told the nurse at Mercy Medical the only thing they had me on was simply wiping off water with clothes on. The guy said that 6 said no, it's actually funny, she just simply brushed it off and they didn't have anything else. Then they started saying you touched her. After that, the riffraff showed up. You touch yourself, you expose yourself, you touch yourself, look weird. Well, that's not wiping off water with clothes on, just brushing something off. My stomach bled. I was so upset. It's like, what else did you do to me? Then I thought, well, they put my head on somebody else's body. Then I got to thinking, what would you be doing? It sounds like you undressed and got in the shower and you're washing yourself. I walked outside to smoke. She figured out what they did. And they're laughing at me. May 12th, 22 at noon, they found a tape of them emitting a shower scene in the other room. May 26th, 22 at noon, the shower scene was done to make you look weird on purpose. May 25th, 21, 6 p.m. of the church people breaking in before drugging her and telling her to say weirdo molester stuff. 1295, Fairlawn, little white lady screamed at him, and 21 talked to several people. The 8921 apartment building formed a second close offense. A lady and little girls lived there. 4 or 5 neighbors got together and did a police report right after that of being drugged and told to say it before. At the Oakland apartment, December 9th, 21 on Cleveland Avenue. Maintenance man. At 4 p.m., somebody had called him that all the tapes before were them and not me. It's just a bunch of men doing crimes down here to see if someone would stop them. Same day, white man bald with dark eyes distributing food at the Stark County Hunger Task Force on 9th Street in Canton was one of my guards. Walked out. We always knew the tapes before were them and not her, so we never said a word. January 12th, 22, Walgreens North Main, 4:45 p.m. Officer John stops men at the door. Where those kids get tapes dating, they made everything up. January 19th, 22, 11 o'clock in the morning, Department of Disability on Whipple. They told them I was drugged and told to say it before. February 2nd, 22, Burlington Coat Factory, a Latino man and his girlfriend, and he admitted he drugged me first and told me to say it. Got my client away from me. He's like, I heard that Latino guy. I said, I never seen him before. I only had bruises, throwing up, and almost passing out. After I take a drink or wake up with injection marks, I'll tell the police where to find him. Stay out of it. We go in to Save-A-Lot. They're sending their hate crime through cell phones. They're Dean. Okay? They're dinging. Oh my goodness, they admitted to drugging her and telling her to say it before. Okay? Down on 6th Street in Canton, a brown house, a African-American guy ran out and yelled at postman. We all heard him admit to drugging her and telling her to say it before. Okay? Even garbage guys within a few days were complaining that they had drugged me and told me to say it before. March 24, 22, 1:30, they admitted to framing me. June 7th, 23, Melissa's Church Lighthouse Tabernacle and the cartel make fun of FBI Agent John. FBI Agent John fell for the stunt on tapes before. Oh, come on now. That FBI agent fell for that? You're kidding. It was only a stunt. You mean John actually fell for it? You mean that FBI agent actually fell for a stunt on tapes before that were only a stunt? Is that what's going on? Name and title and cackle at him. Sold videos of it to children. March 20th, 24. Walmart on 62. They were laughing how they made up retired Judge Pete. They made up everything on me to get away with us, cackling how they fooled everybody. You want me to keep going. Now, how do you think I look at you guys? You're making fun of me because some assholes broke in and roofied me and told me to say something stupid. They told that, like they said today, they went in and told that FBI agent they had sodium pentothal reports. They were drugging her to get the truth out of her when they were drugging her and framing her. They told him they were drugging her. That's where April 19th, 25, Hartville Flea Market. You wouldn't believe how dumb these people are. You would not believe how dumb they are. She calls the FBI hotline. They immediately walk into an FBI office, confess they're illegally monitoring on their own. Cyber stalking is a federal crime. It is illegal for an attorney to set up button cameras and cyber stalk you. They get sued, or not sued, but they go to jail just like everybody else and lose their license forever. Okay? They don't get special permission for nothing. And it is illegal also on Google for an attorney to lie that you had prior charges so they had found a law that they could break in your home. There's never any law that allows them in your home. Any attorney at all. It is illegal to be in somebody's home. Police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life with statements and a court order without a conflict of interest. There's nothing else. Okay? So you're making fun of me for these men running a drug scam on me. Drugging me up, beating, raping me. You're making fun of me for some rapist running a drug scam on me. Why are you making fun of a rape victim? A human trafficking victim? What is wrong with you? I think they can be gangsters, and you're going to help them harm somebody and extort money. You can go to jail as an accessory. And then they run around, the FBI says no one's allowed to help her. No, they didn't. They're lying again. That's all they do is lie. And you lap up their shit like it's unbelievable. Because you're so fucking retarded falling for these dumbass people running drug scams on people. You need to check yourself and your IQ of how not funny this is. Do you want that gang to do this to you? April 19th, 25. Hartville Flea Market. You would not believe how dumb these people are. They walked into an FBI office as soon as she called the FBI hotline and confessed they were illegally monitoring her on their own. And they already knew she called the FBI. Trust me, nobody ever fell for the dirty doctor scam of taping you unaware before, confessing of crimes, sat on it till Dave wanted a divorce, and then it sounded mechanical. We knew they altered everything, and it wasn't her, it was them. And nobody fell for the weird with yourself. We knew it was photoshopped or washing yourself in the shower. And they had photoshopped everything. But if they were going to be that dumb and try this with us, we told Agent John to go tell on her to that church that she called the FBI hotline before he spoke to her. And to act dumb like these people, to find out who's all involved. And trust me, everybody knows a gunshot night happened. And how not funny this is. And we all realized how not funny this is when the other group showed up and said they worked for a drug lord and Dave had hired them. You know, after Dave fled the country in November of 23, right before Thanksgiving, the Texas group showed up at Bueller's North Main in the morning. This little guy, he Middle Eastern, and his dad looked Iraqi. Him and his son is in there. He's probably about 7. He's laughing laughing his little ass off, giggling, smiling at me. It's actually got funny. It's really got funny. It's actually got funny. Dave's gone forever, and no one can say a word to Karen ever again. His dad started laughing and said something about the king. Told those men if they see her out, they better make sure nothing happens to her. He'll take care of them himself. See, the drug dealers started hating Dave. Hating him. A lot of them did. And that's where even people said, do you realize that drug cartel, Dave hired him and they ended up hating him? Oh yeah, little kid part of the group. It's actually got funny. It's finally got funny. It's actually got really funny. Dave's gone forever, and no one can ever say a word to Karen ever again. It's actually got funny. So, where these people run around, the FBI said no one's allowed to ever help her again. No, they didn't. The riffraff made that up, the drug cartel. See, they're just running around lying. The FBI didn't go anywhere. See, that's where they thought they fooled them. And that agent opened a real case with statements and a court order for police surveillance for threat and attempt to life for an FBI informant. Money and immunity signed by a judge. And with a recorded line of him admitting he met with everyone and knew everything. And he fooled them all and got all of these people under surveillance and arrested thousands. Saved hundreds of lives. That agent fooled them all. Now, that's where, once they thought they were gone, Melissa thought she'd be a smartass and have her kids make up those mean jokes. Well, I didn't even know what they were, and they wouldn't tell me. They'll make up something, call you a bad word. After Melissa's so stupid, she made everything up when you were fishing with Dave. She's actually that stupid. She didn't check where you were. Then the first lie, she was in it with a drugger in the wrong nightgown and butt lie, and then another ridiculous lie. Then they'll make up something, call you a bad word. Then they kept making up more vicious lies. Well, I had to wait till Flores dated October 23rd, 2019. At Baby's first party, I said, do you know how mad I was when they said the house wasn't meant for Grandma, was meant for Auntie Shell, and Papa and Grandma needed to get out? Flores like, that's not what they said. They said this. It was filthy. Make up something, call me a bad word. Josh is like, ew, don't say that again. It's not true. She's like, of course it's not true. Of course it never happened. We made it up. They were games of pretend. Laughing. Couldn't quit chuckling. Sit next to me. I would have spanked them all. Back in my day, they would have washed their mouth out with soap. You know, that's where on Google you have your kids pretend they're hard to extort money. You go to jail for extortion and child abuse. And then here it's been almost 7 years. Where in Royal King the other day, a couple days ago in New Philly, they said the officers working the case looked it up and said it was some attorney's office. Had the men do this to her on their own, had her drugged for fake confessions. Photoshopped and framed. And it was just some attorney's office doing it on their own. And that agent opened that case and just left her there. And they think he stole their money. Okay? Now I want you to think about that. Where FBI agent John the night before he talked to me was Uptown Apostolic Church of Bremerton. He knew I was being drugged, beat, and raped, and he said he didn't care. People in papers were complaining because Strange called me a faker and it was a medication error. And people saying that I was supposed to be mean to him and I had no association with him. In years, already told the hotline that. It was to act dumb, not become dumb. Get the drug dealers. You know where they wanted to find out who all involved? It was a big bad drug cartel. So, where you run around making fun of me for some ass breaking in my house, roofing me and telling me to say something stupid? My neighbor Mike used to live out in the end apartment. He came home and one day, and I had walked out of my apartment early in the morning, came up and said, I don't know how I got home. I'm like, go sleep it off. Kept saying it. I said, what do you remember? The second beer, go sleep it off. He said, like, you don't understand. I got all this money in my pocket. Starts pulling out. I said, check your bank. He said, well, I took $100 out. That explains the money, but what was in the box with mustard, and how did I change my shoes? And I'm like, go sleep that off. He lost the whole night. He said, I used to be a New York cop, and you're pretty. You want to go cuddle? I'm like, go sleep that off. Later on, I checked on him. He didn't remember even saying anything to me. I could have told him to say anything, and he would have. He's stoned out of his mind. Found out he told people that he was an astronaut during the second beer. I met a U.S. Marshals kid that got roofied by the cartel twice and moved out of this area for safety. She took a drink, the room would go dizzy and black. She was at Jersey's bar when the first time it happened. She don't know what happened to her the whole night. Then she waited a while, went to another bar, and it happened again, and she ended up in the hospital, didn't know how she got out of the bar. My co-worker, Dar, had a set of twins. One had died. Her friends took her out for her friends the night out because she had been sitting around crying. Had a babysitter for the surviving twin. They gave her some space at the bar. She ordered a drink. They said she acted a little happy. She remembers nothing after the first drink. She said her friends said a group of people came up after that. She was talking, acting fine. They didn't think anything when she left with them. She woke up outside in a puddle of pee, got herself home, throwing up, messed up like I was. Afterwards, makes you really sick. A couple months later, she went back to the doctor, found out she's pregnant again. She's arguing with him. How can I be pregnant? I've not had sex with anyone. Said, it's not that I don't love my son, but I don't know what happened to me. You're sleepwalking. Over 10 to 20 prescription drugs in high doses will make you sleepwalk. It's right on Google without the legal ones like LSD and more. That's where my friend from the Stark County Prosecutor's Office, this whole thing is a fraud scheme. Where you had all the signs of being drugged, being raped, even though your doctor didn't put it together that a rapist was doing it. And I was blaming the dirty well water. I was showering and thinking it's giving me cancer. He said somebody was harming you, Karen. You were going in for all the signs of being drugged, being raped. And he said, we all know you're sleepwalking with those date rape, amnesia drugs. And where they laugh at you in front of people's stores that they drugged you and told you to say it before, they probably did. Somebody was harming you. You didn't see or talk to anyone. And where they laugh at you in front of people in stores, they Photoshop that shower scene of washing yourself. They probably did as clicking and pasting. It's a big fraud scheme. They did the biggest mistake they did at your home. Some idiot at Katana's buffet said he realized because they had her tape saying that the dirty, filthy statement the drugs and told her to say it, nobody helped her out there. Just hang your head in shame. Some ass roofies me and tells me to say something stupid. They already confessed years ago, and you're trying to say no one helped me because some ass roofied me? Just hang your head in shame and walk away. Because it shows how retarded you are. Or Photoshop that shower scene and stocking tapes by Bill from the Freemason and some guy named Pete. Some ladies involved. They're the ones framing everybody, running a drug scam. May 25th, 25, Hollister's and Summit Mall. Bill from the Freemasons ran the biggest scam here. He scammed everybody. He had some guy go in and tape her in the shower washing herself. Can you imagine somebody taping you washing yourself? Cackling. Had some other guy go in and drug her up and tell her to say that. Can you imagine somebody drugging somebody up and telling them to say something like that? Then ran a contest off of it. Who could steal her money? Scammed everybody into helping out. May 26, 25, the Florida drug cartel shows up. The cartel's tired of Bill from the Freemason and his scam. We heard they were making fun of this in Summit Mall. Who does he think he is? Now, why on earth would you make fun of me for some ass roofing me and telling me to say something like that? And photoshopping, washing, and stocking tapes in a drug scam. Why? I'm going to upload this.